Hey, everyone, and welcome back. We've got some really cool stuff to unpack today.
Yeah.
About AI and how it's getting even better at working with tables.
Oh, yeah. This is some pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah. So get this, you guys sent in some stuff about this AI called TableGPT2-7B.
Okay.
And it's not just like doing calculations or, spitting out numbers.
Right.
It's actually understanding what those tables mean. Like almost like a data scientist, but way faster.
It is really quite remarkable. What we're seeing with TableGPT2-7B, and it was developed by researchers at Zhejiang University. By the way, it's a big step forward in how AI can work with data. So it's this thing called a large language model, or LLM.
Okay.
And it's built to understand two things. One, natural language, like how we talk.
Right.
And the structured language of tables, which is obviously different.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, right? It's like you can ask it questions about the data just in plain English.
Yeah.
And it just gets it. No complicated formulas or anything like that.
Exactly. And what's also fascinating is that it's especially strong with Chinese text.
Oh, wow.
Which highlights how AI development is truly a global thing.
Yeah.
It's happening all over the world.
Okay, but here's where it gets really, really interesting. It uses this thing called global table representation to understand the entire table, not just like looking at each little cell.
Right.
Can you explain how that works?
Sure. So imagine you're looking at like a blueprint
Yeah.
before you build something. You wouldn't just focus on individual lines.
Right.
You look at how they all connect.
Yeah, to see the whole structure.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's kind of what TableGPT2-7B does. It uses a cascaded table encoder to look at the table's metadata first. So that's stuff like column names, data types, maybe some descriptions, anything that gives it context. And it uses this to try to figure out the table's purpose.
So it's like it's reading the instructions before it starts putting the pieces together.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Okay, cool.
This gives it a much deeper, more contextual understanding, which is really a huge step forward in AI data analysis.
Now, I know you're probably thinking, okay, sounds cool, but how does it actually work? Well, it uses this chain of command approach.
Okay.
Almost like giving the AI a set of instructions, a recipe to follow.
I see.
In the research paper, they actually had this really good example. So let's say you want to know like the 5 movies with the highest profit margins. Instead of trying to figure that all out at once, TableGPT2-7B breaks it down into smaller steps.
Okay.
So first it checks, okay, is there a profit margin column?
Got it.
If not, it calculates it from the data that's there, like using box office revenue and production costs and all that. Then it sorts the movies by profit margin and picks the top 5.
Wow. So it's really thinking through the problem step by step.
Yeah, exactly. Like a human analyst would, right?
That's really impressive. And that makes it way more reliable and less likely to make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just blindly following a command. It's understanding the steps involved and doing them in a way that makes sense.
That's really clever.
Okay, so this is all super impressive, but what can people actually do with this? What kind of problems can TableGPT2-7B solve in the real world?
Well, one of our most exciting things is that it has the potential to make data analysis way more accessible. Like, you shouldn't need a PhD in statistics to unlock insights from your data.
Exactly. Like, imagine being able to just ask your data questions in plain English.
Right.
And get clear answers that you can actually use. That would be huge for businesses, researchers, even just people managing their own finances.
Absolutely. The researchers have actually already tested TableGPT2-7B on some real-world case studies.
Cool.
For example, it was able to answer some pretty complex financial questions just by using a company's financial data. It could identify trends and provide insights that would be super valuable to any business leader.
So it's like having your own personal financial analyst on call 24/7.
Pretty much, yeah. And get this, it can even generate visualizations, like charts and graphs to help people understand the data better.
Wait, so it can actually create the visuals too?
Yeah. Highlighting key trends and making complex information much easier to digest.
Wow, that's taking data analysis to a whole new level.
Absolutely. And what's even more impressive is that it can create these things called interactive dashboards.
Oh, wow.
You can explore the data dynamically, drill down into specifics, and really get a feel for what your data is telling you.
That's incredible. And this is just the beginning, right? As this technology keeps developing, we can expect even more powerful stuff.
Exactly. It's a rapidly evolving field.
Wow.
And TableGPT2-7B is just a glimpse into the future of data analysis.
Yeah.
Where AI and human expertise can really work together to unlock the full potential of data.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's take a closer look at how TableGPT2-7B compares to other AI systems out there. There's some interesting research that compares it to things like Chat Excel and Sheet Copilot.
Okay.
So, those are obviously other systems that try to work with data. What sets TableGPT2-7B apart?
Well, you have to remember that comparing these different systems can be tricky.
Okay.
Because different researchers use different methods and metrics to evaluate them.
Right. So it's not always a clear comparison.
Exactly. And we also need to remember that the whole field of AI is constantly evolving.
Yeah. What we see today might be totally different a year from now.
Right. What we see today is just a snapshot of what's possible. There are new approaches and even more powerful systems emerging all the time.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive on TableGPT2-7B, but don't worry, there's more to come. We'll be back in part 2 to delve even deeper into those real-world case studies and how TableGPT2-7B's unique approach to understanding tables is setting the stage for a future where anyone can be a data whiz.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Welcome back. I'm excited to dig into those case studies.
Yeah, me too. Let's see this AI in action.
All right.
So one of them focused on financial analysis. The researchers gave TableGPT2-7B a company's financial data. All the stuff, revenue, expenses, and they asked it some pretty tough questions.
Yeah, like the kind of questions a human analyst would normally have to spend hours digging through spreadsheets for.
Right, like trying to spot trends and patterns.
Yeah.
Things like, what are the trends in revenue growth over the past 5 years? Or which department is spending the most money?
Exactly.
So it wasn't just pulling out numbers, it was actually analyzing them.
Right.
And finding useful insights for decision-making.
Exactly. And it did a really great job. It was able to accurately identify trends, calculate those important financial metrics, and provide insights that would be really useful for any business leader.
That's pretty awesome. So what about the other study, the one with the visualizations?
Yes, that one focused on TableGPT2-7B's ability to create visuals from raw data. So they gave it a table and asked it to create charts and graphs that highlighted the key points.
So visuals are really important for making sense of data, especially if you're not a data expert.
Right.
Like a good chart can show you patterns that you might miss if you're just looking at the numbers.
Exactly. A picture can be worth 1,000 words.
Exactly. So did TableGPT2-7B pass the visualization test?
Oh, it did. It created really clear and concise visuals that communicated the story behind the data. It wasn't just about crunching numbers, but about presenting them in a way that was meaningful and easy to understand.
Okay, but hold on. Creating charts and graphs, that's impressive. But you also said something about interactive dashboards.
Yes. The research showed that TableGPT2-7B can actually build those too. Imagine being able to click on different parts of a chart.
Yeah.
Filter the data and see how everything is connected, all without needing to write any code.
Wow. That takes data visualization to a whole new level. It's like giving people the power to explore their data in a way that just makes sense.
Exactly. These case studies really showcase the potential of TableGPT2-7B. It's not just some theory. It's a technology that can actually be used to solve real-world problems and deliver results.
This is so cool. But I am curious about the behind-the-scenes magic. We've talked about this global table representation, but how does it actually develop that deep understanding of the data?
Well, that's where the cascaded table encoder comes in. It's a really clever mechanism that allows the AI to build a multi-layered understanding of the table.
Okay.
Think of it this way. The first layer focuses on the metadata.
Right.
Column names, data types, any descriptions that provide context. TableGPT2-7B analyzes this metadata to get a sense of the table's structure and purpose, like reading the instructions before you assemble a piece of furniture.
So it's figuring out what each piece of information means and how it fits into the whole picture.
Exactly. It's learning the language of the table. Then the second layer comes in, and that focuses on the actual data values.
Okay.
It looks for distributions, patterns, relationships between columns. Like, it's trying to understand the story that the data is telling.
So it combines the what of the data with the why of the data.
Precisely. And by putting those two layers of understanding together, the metadata and the data values, it creates this global table representation. It's a really rich, contextualized view of the whole table. And it's that deep understanding that allows TableGPT2-7B to do such complex analysis, answer tough questions, and create those insightful visualizations.
It's really amazing how AI is evolving to think more like humans, breaking down complex tasks into smaller steps. It's like it's saying, okay, to solve this problem, I first need to understand the data, then look for patterns, and then present what I found in a way that makes sense to people.
It is pretty remarkable. And this approach, this breaking things down into smaller steps, has implications that go way beyond data analysis.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine AI systems that could understand complicated instructions, break them down into logical steps, and then execute them in different areas. That's the kind of future that TableGPT2-7B is pointing towards. And it's really exciting.
Okay, we've gone through the case studies and looked at how TableGPT2-7B gets this global table representation and even touched on the big picture implications. But there's one more thing that I'm really curious about, and that's this idea of active learning.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. Active learning is one of the coolest things about TableGPT2-7B. So instead of just passively taking in information, it can actually identify areas where it's not so sure.
Okay.
And then actively look for more information to improve its understanding. It's like it's saying, hey, I'm not sure about this. Can you give me some more info so I can do a better job?
So it's kind of like a student raising their hand in class and asking the teacher a question.
Exactly. It's a way of learning together where AI and human experts are collaborating to make the model better.
Okay.
So let's say TableGPT2-7B is looking at customer data to try to predict churn, but it's having some trouble with certain types of customers.
Okay.
It might flag those and ask a human expert for input.
Like, hey, can you tell me more about these people so I can make better predictions?
Exactly. And the human expert might have additional information like notes from customer service interactions or survey feedback, and that can really help the AI understand those nuances of customer behavior and improve its predictions.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like this constant back and forth where the AI is learning and getting better based on what humans tell it.
It's a true partnership between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
I love that. So this active learning helps the AI get more accurate over time.
Yes, exactly. It's a continuous cycle of learning and improving.
Okay, so this is all mind-blowing stuff, but we also need to be realistic. TableGPT2-7B is still being developed, right?
Right.
There are still challenges and limitations. What are the researchers working on now?
Well, like any new technology, there's always room to grow. One of the big challenges is handling messy or unstructured data. TableGPT2-7B is great with nice, organized tables, but in the real world, data can be all over the place.
Yeah, like sometimes the formatting is inconsistent or there's missing data.
Exactly, and figuring out how to handle those real-world imperfections is crucial. Another challenge is scalability. We've been talking about how it's been tested on smaller data sets, but a lot of organizations have massive amounts of data, millions or even billions of rows.
Right. Imagine trying to analyze all the sales data for a huge company or the medical records for an entire country.
Exactly. So being able to scale up TableGPT2-7B to handle that volume of information without sacrificing accuracy is a big focus.
So it's kind of like training an athlete for a marathon. You need to build up their endurance.
That's a great analogy. TableGPT2-7B needs to be able to keep up even when dealing with huge amounts of data.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, but let's end on a positive note.
Yeah.
What are some of the exciting possibilities that TableGPT2-7B opens up? What does the future look like for this technology?
Oh, the possibilities are endless. Imagine a world where everyone can ask questions of their data and get answers regardless of their technical skills. That could revolutionize decision-making in so many fields. We could see breakthroughs in science, better business strategies, even better personal decisions.
It's like giving everyone a superpower. The power to understand their data in a way that used to be only for experts.
Exactly. And as the technology gets better, we can expect even more powerful capabilities and more uses. It's a really exciting time to be working in this field.
All right, welcome back, everyone, for the final part of our deep dive into TableGPT2-7B. We've seen what it can do, how it works. Now let's zoom out a bit and think about the bigger picture. What does this technology mean for the future?
Yeah, what's really exciting is that TableGPT2-7B is a big step towards making data analysis something that everyone can do.
Right.
It's like we're breaking down the barriers and giving people the tools to understand and learn from their own information.
Yeah, I love that analogy. It's like we're democratizing data, giving power back to the people. Imagine everyone being able to unlock the secrets hidden in their data, no matter what their tech skills are like.
Exactly. Think about the possibilities for small businesses, nonprofits, even just people managing their own money. They could get insights that were totally out of reach before.
Yeah.
And that could lead to better decisions and better results.
It's like leveling the playing field, right?
Yeah.
Empowering people to make smarter choices in all aspects of their lives. You wouldn't need to be a data scientist or hire one to understand what your data is telling you.
Exactly. And as this technology gets even better, we could see this huge burst of creativity and innovation. People will find new ways to use data to solve problems and create value. The sky's the limit, really.
I mean, this all sounds incredibly promising, but I think it's also important to acknowledge that with any powerful new tech, there are potential downsides too.
Yeah.
Are there any risks or concerns we should be thinking about?
Oh, absolutely. We need to be thoughtful about how this technology is developed and used. One thing is making sure that these AI systems are built and used responsibly.
Okay.
We don't want to accidentally make existing biases worse or even create new ones. So diversity is really important, both in the teams that are building these systems and in the data that's used to train them.
That makes a lot of sense. We don't want AI to just amplify the problems we already have.
Right.
What about the impact on jobs? If AI can analyze data faster and more efficiently than humans, could this lead to people losing their jobs?
It's a valid concern for sure, and something we need to think about carefully. But if you look back, history shows us that new tech often leads to new types of jobs, even as it automates some of the old ones. So the key is to adapt and evolve as things change.
Right. So not be afraid of the change, but figure out how to work with it.
Exactly. Instead of worrying about job displacement, we should be thinking about how AI can help us do our jobs even better and tackle those tougher challenges.
So it's not about replacing humans, but more like working alongside them.
Exactly. Think of it as a partnership, a collaboration. Humans bring creativity, critical thinking, empathy, ethical judgment, while AI brings speed, accuracy, and the ability to process massive amounts of data. When you put those together, we can do incredible things.
I love that perspective. So it's not human versus machine. It's human and machine working together for a better future. Okay, so we've talked about the big picture. What about the impact on specific industries? Where do you see TableGPT2-7B making the biggest splash?
Well, the possibilities are huge.
Yeah.
In healthcare, it could be used to analyze patient data, identify trends, predict outbreaks, personalize treatments. Imagine doctors being able to get AI-powered insights that could help them make faster and more accurate diagnoses.
That would be amazing.
What about other areas?
In finance, it could help detect fraud, manage risk, make better investment strategies. In education, it could create personalized learning experiences for students and give them real-time feedback.
Wow. So we're talking about potentially revolutionizing entire industries. TableGPT2-7B is more than just a tool. It's a catalyst for change. It really is. And remember, this is still early days. AI is changing so fast, and TableGPT2-7B is just a sneak peek at what's possible. As the technology evolves, we can expect even more powerful and sophisticated AI that will reshape the world around us.
It really is an exciting time to be alive and witness these changes happening. But as we get more and more into AI, we also need to think carefully about the ethical implications.
Yes, absolutely.
Making sure that these technologies are being used responsibly to benefit everyone.
You're exactly right. AI is powerful, and like any powerful tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways. We have to guide its development and make sure it's used to help society, not hurt it. We need to be talking about both the risks and the rewards, and work together to create a future where AI empowers us.
Well said.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into TableGPT2-7B. We've covered a lot of ground, how it works, what it can do, and its potential impact on the world. I hope you've all enjoyed exploring this with us.
It's been great. And remember, this conversation doesn't end here. Keep learning. Keep asking questions. The future of AI is in our hands.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing explorations into the world of tech and ideas. And tell us what other topics you'd like us to dive into. We're always looking for exciting new areas to explore. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.